Welcome to That Cat Radio with your host, Cat Simpson.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for choosing to connect with me here at That Cat Radio. Welcome to segment 3, which is sponsored by our friends at Stamps.com. I love my Stamps.com subscription. Haven't been inside a post office in several months, thanks to them. I want to welcome back a good friend of our program, Cliff Enko. Cliff Enko is widely considered one of America's foremost small business experts and has helped more than 15,000 small businesses get off the ground over the past 30 years. He's best known as the former host of Money Hunt, the popular 1990s PBS television series for entrepreneurs. Cliff hosts now the Protecting Your Business channel on the Small Business Television Network and is a frequent contributor to Entrepreneur and other small business magazines and websites. A former Wall Street lawyer and business consultant, Cliff is the author of 10 books on entrepreneurship and small business success, including the eBay Business Answer Book, Small Business Survival Guide, Money Hunt, 27 New Ways to Create and Build a Breakaway Business, and the recently released eBay Marketing Bible. A faculty member of eBay University, Cliff speaks around the country on e-commerce strategies and the legal, tax, and business issues involving selling products and services on the internet. Today, we have Cliff with us to celebrate the publishing of a new book he's written on crowdfunding. So welcome back to the show, Cliff. How's the new book launch going?
Oh, it's going great, Kat. My wife says I'm a legend in my own mind, and that's basically.
I like your wife.
And of course, no man's a hero to his wife ever. But seriously, I'm doing a lot of these right now. Very exciting new development. Really, probably the biggest change that has happened in the field of securities law since the 1930s. It's going to make it a lot easier for a lot of small businesses to do what used to be called the friends and family offering. But now expanding it to include their social media followers. This is a major development, and it's something that a lot of your listeners, I think, are going to be hearing about in the next few months. I'm very proud that this is the very first book that has come out on this topic, and I'm getting a lot of good press about it.
I'm very proud of you, too, because I know getting a book published takes a while, and this is just timely as soon as they pass the regulations. For those of you listening, the title of the book is The Crowdfunding Handbook, subtitle, Using Equity Funding Portals to Raise Money for Your Small Business or Startup. And if all those big words are confusing, let me just give you one small word I know you've heard of, Kickstarter. Okay? So we're talking about that type of website, Kickstarter. So I looked through the book real quick before the show last night and today. And Cliff, one thing I had to bring up was I love the fact that you've dedicated the book to 7 strong women who shaped my character and made me what I am today. So tell me a little bit about these 7 women in your book.
My seven strong women. Basically, I was raised by women, Kat. My dad, When I was a boy, he worked like 3 jobs. I didn't even know who he was until high school. Just about, yo, Mom, who's the guy? Who's that guy? That's Dad? Really? Can you introduce me? That kind of thing. So I was shunted between 7 very strong women. My mother, 2 grandmothers, a great aunt, and 3 aunts that were all radically different. And I'm actually, in what little spare time I have these days, I'm actually doing an ebook called 7 Strong Women, a portrait of 7 women of the greatest generation in the pre-liberation era. It's going to be my one and only contribution to the to gender studies literature, I think.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
It's going to be it for me. And, of course, my wife, of course, when she saw the dedication, she said, now, those are the 7 who raised you. Now, who's number 8? So, I did leave one out there, very foolishly.
Well, I did, but I
okay.
noticed that you gave her a shout-out there at the end in the acknowledgments when you wrote about how without her patience, none of this would be possible. So she got her shout-out. That's good.
Thank goodness I got that. And of course, you're number 9, so so that.
Of course. I knew that. Well, I love the fact that I had to get that out there. We'll definitely talk about your book, but I wanted to get that out there about 7 women. I can't wait to hear your book about that. They sound like amazing ladies. I would love to know more about. So, Cliff, we talked about the crowdfunding handbook. I threw out the word Kickstarter to get the audience on the right board. But Can you explain what exactly is crowdfunding?
Okay. Up until this year, crowdfunding has been, here's what crowdfunding's been all about. You have a project that you want to do. Maybe you're an author writing a new book, or you're looking for funding for a podcast, or you're an artist or something, and you're doing a gallery show, or you might be somebody who's looking to have like in vitro fertilization that's not covered by health insurance or something like that. You have a project. You put it out there on these websites, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, there's a bunch of them, and people who are interested basically give you money. Small amounts, $10 here, $100 there. You might get $1,000 from some rich person. But the idea is that they don't really have an expectation of getting anything in return. You might give them, like if it's an invention, you might give them a free copy of it, once it's released, or a signed copy of your new book if you're an author. But that's all they get in return. They're really just doing something nice. It's a way to solicit charitable contributions for various projects. I know one couple was having trouble conceiving a baby, so what they did was they raised money on Kickstarter. This is about a little over a year ago, and basically the deal was that at various contribution levels you would get different things, but over $1,000 you would have the right to name the baby.
Wow.
If they conceived and had a child, they would basically choose like 3 names, 3 boys' names, 3 girls' names, and the people who put in over $1,000 would vote for the name that they liked best, and that's what they would name they would name the kid. So that kind of thing.
At least they didn't name it Kickstarter. There you go.
Well, they had to have some control over that, I think, because otherwise you get some kid with some really horrible name like Clifford or Chauncey or something like that. God only knows. Anyway, but that's what crowdfunding's been. Now, last year, the SEC took some action, though. This has been kicking around since 2012. Congress in 2012 passed something called the Jobs Act, the Jumpstart Our Business Startups Act, but the acronym is JOBS, and that's what everybody calls it. And basically what they're doing is they're loosening up the securities laws to make it easier for small business to raise capital online. And one of the keynote of this law was something called Title III, which basically said, from now on, you can use crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter to raise money for your company, and you can give people stock in your company in exchange for their contributions. It's the second part of it that's the revolutionary new thing. You have a lot of startup companies use Kickstarter and other sites to raise money for their projects, their inventions, and all that kind of thing. But now under these new SEC rules, you can actually raise money for your company and give stock in your company to the people who participate in the crowdfunded offering. Major new development here, and I've been practicing in this area, new venture finance and stuff for more than 25 years. Normally when a company starts up, they get their money. First, they get their money from the founders, the people who start the company, their credit cards and all that. Everybody hits up their credit cards. They max out their American Express, whatever. And then the second thing, traditionally, is a friends and family offering. My Uncle Louie puts in $5,000. Aunt Irma, my 7 strong women would have each put in $5,000, if I was doing something for a project. What these new laws are doing, though, it enables you to tap into your social media following. So instead of just hitting up your 10 closest relatives, you can now hit up your 10,000 Twitter followers, your 500 Facebook friends, and ask them for money, and it's perfectly legal. This is a major new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are out there going, okay, wait a minute, guys, Kickstarter, and those are not new. Those are not new. You're right. Just what Cliff said. That is crowdfunding. But what is new is what Cliff is talking about, equity crowdfunding, which is, as you just described it, where you're going to fund my business and I'm going to give you a stock or a piece of my business. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. So what you're doing is you're going on a crowdfunding portal, and we'll talk about what those are in a few minutes. Right now, to my knowledge, Kickstarter itself hasn't gotten into this market yet, but a bunch of other websites have. And basically what you do is you basically say, okay, here's the deal. Here's my business plan. I am looking to raise $50,000, and in exchange for that, I'm willing to give up 5% of my company in chunks of 100 shares each, just like you would in a regular stock offering with the SEC. And basically you put it up on a portal, and people basically compete with each other to invest in you. I mean, some people in the audience are probably familiar that there are a bunch of of crowdfunding lender sites out there. Prosper.com, I think, is the most prominent of these. That's the one that Pierre Omidyar, the founder of eBay, is an investor in that.
Yes.
There's another one called lendingtree.com. Basically, these are micro-lending sites where if I'm looking to raise money for a project, people can loan me money, and they can compete with each other to see who gets the best interest rate. This is the next evolution beyond that. Instead of loaning me money, people can now actually buy shares in my company and own a piece of me, which is very different.
And as you said, this is very, very new because, as you said, the Jobs Act passed in 2012. But there was something else that happened because nothing actually happened between 2012 and here we are in 2016. What happened in October of 2015 that made this a go?
Okay, well, basically, when Congress passed the act, they basically said, okay, now SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission in Washington, you got to come up with some rules under this sucker so that people know how to do these offerings. And it took the SEC bloody forever to get these things approved. The act was passed in April of 2012 was when President Obama signed the act. The proposed regulations didn't come out until October of 2013, and it took another 2 years until last October, right before Halloween, the SEC finally came down with the proposed regulations. And there's been a lot of speculation about that, but I think my personal take on it is that the SEC was very nervous about expanding the securities offerings to average normal people.
They don't trust us.
The way these rules set up. If you were a rich person, what the SEC calls an accredited investor.
They're going to cut us off, but don't worry because we will be back in just a couple minutes. We'll finish this discussion because again, they don't trust us. Don't worry, we're here on the WS Radio Network, the worldwide leader, Internet Talk. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for shipping supplies for your online business, then look no further than Bubble Fast. Packing peanuts, they've got them. Poly bubble mailers, they've got those too. Bubble Fast even has all the shipping supplies you need for Amazon FBA. So, what are you waiting for? Visit their website today at bubblefast.com. Oh, and don't forget to use your That Cat Radio coupon code. That Cat Radio is good for 5% off your next purchase. Bubble Fast.
A podcast or radio show on WS Radio is a great way to create content marketing. Turn prospects into customers into raving fans. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Attention business owners. Does it feel like your business owns you? See if you qualify for a free 90-minute business coaching session to help you build a business, not a job. During this free 90-minute strategic consultation, one of our senior coaches will help you map out the best way to grow your company and get your life back. To learn more, go to MauiMasterminds.com/scale now. That's MauiMasterminds.com/scale now.
Think about all the reasons you love being a small business owner. Did accounting and taxes make the list? 40% of your peers say these are the least favorite tasks of being self-employed. Amazon sellers can turn to Inventory Lab. At Inventory Lab, we were sellers before developers. Our bundled services help eliminate your daily business headaches so you can enjoy the best parts of owning a business. Get your free 30-day trial at inventorylab.com.
The richness of your life is reflected in the shimmering elegance found at Diolune Design. One-of-a-kind jewelry and pieces from Cynthia Dillon in silver and gold help to express your unique personality. The flowing designs of her creations will empower the way you move throughout your day. Join us online at DIOLUNdesigns.com.
Gotham Books presents Marriage Rules by Harriet Lerner. The book Martha Beck calls required reading for anyone hoping to interact successfully with any other human, not just for those in romantic relationships. Get your copy wherever books and ebooks are sold, and visit harrietlerner.com to learn how to change your marriage today.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Inventory Lab is the proud sponsor of That Cat Radio. Amazon resellers, streamline your bookkeeping at inventorylab.com. Spend some time at Inventory Lab and save time every day with your bookkeeping. inventorylab.com.
Welcome to That Cat Radio with your host, Cat Simpson.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us again for Segment 4. Segment 4 of That Cat Radio is sponsored by the Unstoppable Amazon Academy by Robin Johnson. To learn more about the Unstoppable Academy, about how to sell on Amazon, go to thatcat.com/Robin, ROBYN. Cliff, we cut you off right in the middle of your answer. So to summarize, I'd love to have you answer this again. What happened in October that changed this and made it real for everyone?
Okay. The big thing the SEC did in October of last year was they expanded these types of offerings to anybody. It used to be that if you wanted to participate in a venture offering of stock, you had to be a very rich person, what the SEC calls an accredited investor. You had to have at least $1 million of net worth or income of at least $250,000 and that kind of stuff. These new regulations open up these crowdfunded offerings now to just about anybody, as long as they don't spend more than $2,000 a year on these types of offerings. So it has really opened up venture capital to the masses in a very, very big way.
Oh, now that's interesting. I didn't pick up on that before. So are you saying that as an investor, I can't spend more than $2,000 per year on these types of offers?
On these crowdfunded offerings, yes, you can do whatever you want with the rest of your portfolio, but you're limited. The SEC is basically concerned that innocent people are going to be duped into buying, bogus securities by a bunch of hotshot promoters. I mean, you know yourself. I mean, some of these startup companies that you see, advertised on the web. I mean, a lot of these are not ready for prime time, and the SEC is not wrong to be concerned about that. They don't want people losing their life savings to these things, so they're taking a very step-by-step approach to this. They're saying, well, okay, as long as it's not more than $2,000 a year, we're not going to worry about it. These people can roll the dice in Vegas if they wish.
Okay. All right. Well, you can lose a lot more than that in Vegas, but I hear what you're saying. We can talk politics some other time, huh, Cliff? So, Cliff, what types of companies do you see benefiting from this new equity crowdfunding they're making available?
Okay. Basically, this is going to be very appealing to companies that are not currently on the venture capitalist radar screens, but that have huge social media followings. And I'll give you a good example. I celebrated a birthday last week. I won't tell you what year. Thank you. Well, you kind of can guess what decade, but that's about it. I won't go further than that. It's a federal secret. But my wife took me to dinner at the Four Seasons restaurant in New York City, which is a famous restaurant. Murals by Pablo Picasso. This was the place in the mid-20th century where Don Draper and all the Mad Men crew, this is where they had all their power lunches. It's a very historic restaurant on the National Register of Historic Places. Very famous restaurant, but it's still a restaurant. Venture capitalists do not invest in restaurants or service businesses. They're very low margin, even one as famous as the Four Seasons, right? But the Four Seasons has some amazing assets. They have something like 50,000 followers on Twitter, 20,000 Facebook friends. I'm sure they're on Instagram all over the place, although I haven't looked. If the Four Seasons Restaurants wants to raise money for expansion, I think they're actually planning to move from one location in Manhattan to another later this year. And they don't want to go through the bother of getting an SBA loan, which is a pain in the neck. It takes forever to get approval. The interest rates are out of sight. A lot of banks just aren't lending to restaurants these days. These Four Seasons can take advantage of crowdfunding and tap into all those thousands and thousands of fans to raise money for whatever it is they want to do. And it's a very compelling sell because, it's one of the most famous restaurants in the world. I mean, who wouldn't want to have the bragging rights of saying, I own a piece of the Four Seasons restaurant? Now, if they combine that with, some discounts, like, a 20% off coupon for a lunch or something like that, that could be a very compelling crowdfunded offering, and something that they would not be able to do until last October.
Until the rule change. Okay, great. So bringing it home to this audience, how does this apply to an Amazon and eBay seller? Do you think these type of entrepreneurs are a good fit for these crowdfunding sites?
The short answer is they can be. Not everybody will be. Okay. First of all, you do have to be profitable. You know, the way the law works, a passive investor, someone who's not a part of your management team, can only get a return on their investment if you have earnings and profits. So if you're in a business where you have a profit one month but not a profit the next month, that's going to be a tough sell to a crowdfunded audience. If you consistently achieve profits, however, that could be very compelling to a crowdfunded audience. The second rule is if you have some kind of brand identity. So, for example, if you are a private label reseller, a true private label reseller, you are putting your own brand of stuff out there in some manner, shape, or form. That could be very compelling to a crowdfunded audience. Like anything else to do with e-commerce, your success depends on your ability to develop a niche. If you're selling stuff from all over the place, if you're a retail arbitrager, that's going to be a tough sell to a crowdfunded audience. But if you have a niche, if you're building a following on Amazon, people know you are the go-to seller for certain SKUs. That's the kind of thing where a crowdfunded audience might be attractive. So, for example, I know this is mostly for Amazon sellers, but I have a very good friend who's a seven-figure eBay seller. He sells rock posters from the 1960s. And he has a huge following on eBay. Somebody like that who needs to raise money, maybe he wants to start doing brick-and-mortar auctions or something like that, he would be an excellent candidate for crowdfunding, especially, he has over, I think, something like 100,000 positive feedback rating. He could be able possibly to tap into some of those people to support his expansion.
Awesome. Okay, so a profitable business that has their own product, some kind of a niche product or their own brand, that's a possibility.
Right.
So if someone thinks, well, that's an option for me, what are the steps to getting from maybe I should try that to, hey, my offer is up?
Okay, first thing is you can't just do this anywhere you like. You have to register with what's called a crowdfunding portal. The SEC right now is in the process of licensing these. There are about a dozen companies that have applied to become crowdfunding portals. I don't think Kickstarter is one of them, but there is a company in New York called seedinvest.com, seedinvest.com. There are a couple of others that have registered with the SEC, and basically these are specialized websites that do nothing but handle crowdfunded offerings. You put together your business plan, you send it to them, and they post your offering on their site. You can't just do this anywhere. You post the offering up there, and the portal handles all of the communication between you and investors. The SEC requires this. What they basically are doing, Kat, is they're putting all the burden of legal compliance on the portals. Wow. They're saying, look, we got 1 million startup issuers out there. There's no way these people are going to be able to become experts in SEC regulation. We're going to create these portals, and the portals are the ones who have to comply with all of the legal stuff, so that the issuers, so that your company doesn't have to. There are a lot of questions right now about the portals, what they're going to do to help people, what they are not going to do, how they're going to price for their services. Some portals will charge a percentage of the offering amount. Others will charge a flat fee. Others will charge a fee for helping you prepare your offering documents so they look right, so they become attractive. There's going to be a whole little gold rush industry centered around these portals. I've actually been approached by one or two of them, to provide template documents that companies can use when they do these kinds of offerings. So this is an evolving marketplace. The next year or two is going to tell the story of how well this is going to work. But I'm very excited about it. I see this as a major development that's really going to enable a lot of startup companies to bypass the banks. Up until now, if a startup company really wanted to get serious money, their only option was a bank loan. This now gives them a chance to tap into the securities markets and bypass the banks that created the whole financial disaster of 2008.
Excellent, guys. So if you think this is something that's for you on the investor or the seller side, check out the Crowdfunding Handbook. We'll put a link in the show notes. Thank you so much, Cliff, for your time, and Godspeed on your future book about your 7 strong women. Bye-bye, everyone.
Always a pleasure, Kat.
Does your business do a lot of shipping and wish you could get more for less? Stamps.com is the solution. It's the ideal way to automate and simplify your e-commerce shipping needs. Easily import all your venues like eBay, Amazon, and others. Trips to the post office will soon become a memory. Stamps.com gives you postage on demand. Just click, print, and mail at discounted shipping rates. See why so many e-commerce businesses have switched. Visit Stamps.com.
Think about all the reasons you love being a small business owner. Did accounting and taxes make the list? 40% of your peers say these are the least favorite tasks of being self-employed. Amazon sellers can turn to Inventory Lab. At Inventory Lab, we were sellers before developers. Our bundled services help eliminate your daily business headaches so you can enjoy the best parts of owning a business. Get your free 30-day trial at inventorylab.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
No family can survive on 2 incomes anymore, let alone 1. If you are supplementing your family's income working from home, then tune into The Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio. Host Deb Bixler brings you sales tips, lead generation systems, and best business practices that guarantee direct sales success. Whether you're looking for a little extra cash or a career change, The Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio will give you proven systems that will work in your home business. The Cash Flow Show, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time.
If you're looking for shipping supplies for your online business, then look no further than Bubble Fast. Packing peanuts, they've got them. Poly bubble mailers, they've got those too. Bubble Fast even has all the shipping supplies you need for Amazon FBA. So, what are you waiting for? Visit their website today at bubblefast.com. Oh, and don't forget to use your That Cat Radio coupon code. That Cat Radio is good for 5% off your next purchase.